Welcome to the Kids Bedtime Stories channel. If you enjoy our stories, don't forget to subscribe. You are listening to a tale from the series Millie and the Ribbon Bridge. This is episode 3, The Mirror Missed Marsh. Sit comfortably, wrap yourself in quiet, and let Millie guide you to a place where not everything is as it seems. Let us begin. The cloud path slowly descended on the far side of the rocky ridge. The wind that had been swirling around Millie only moments before grew quieter with every step. The air no longer felt light. It grew heavier, damp. Millie stepped off the last cloud onto solid ground. Beneath her boots, she felt softness, not like leaves, more like wet moss. The scent had changed as well. It no longer smelled of high rain or fresh sky. It smelled of still water resting in shadow, of earth that had not seen sunlight in a long time, of moss, and something else, something cool and clean, like the air just before dawn. Before her stretched a wide plain, but not an ordinary one. Low above the ground, mist hovered. It was not thick like a wall. It was layered, rolling. It drifted slowly, as though it were breathing. Millie took a step forward. Her foot sank slightly into the soft ground. It left a clear imprint. She looked down. In a small puddle beside her boot, the sky was reflected, and she herself. Millie smiled without thinking, but her reflection did not. The reflection looked serious. Millie stopped smiling. At that same moment, the reflection shifted slightly and smiled. Millie grew still, as if the world around her had quieted. The mist slid low across the earth, as if trying to veil the surface of the water. "It's only the light," Millie whispered to herself. She stepped forward again. Another puddle. This time she saw something different in its reflection. A cloud, and on it, a small figure. It looked like the Cloudstep Fairy, but not the one Millie had left behind. The figure in the reflection stood perfectly still, turned away, not waving, not bouncing. She looked offended. A small ache stirred in Millie's stomach. "Maybe," she murmured softly, "maybe she was upset that I left." The bracelet at her wrist stopped pulsing. It did not go dark, but its warmth weakened. Millie looked again into the puddle. The reflection of the Cloudstep Fairy did not move. The mist thickened. It drifted lower, nearly brushing Millie's ankles. Sounds grew muffled, as if the world had been wrapped in soft fabric. Millie continued walking. Her footprints quickly filled with water. After a few steps, she turned around. The path behind her was already fading. "All right," she said quietly. "I'll just keep going." The mist rippled. In the distance, a shape appeared. It was not clear, not threatening, but different from everything around it. Millie quickened her pace. She wanted to reach that shape before the mist swallowed it again. On her way, she saw another reflection. This time, herself, but smaller, with her shoulders lowered, as if tired. Millie stopped. "That's not me," she said quickly. The reflection moved a moment later, delayed, like an echo. The mist rose higher, then suddenly sank again. The ground beneath Millie's feet grew softer, too soft. Her boot sank deeper. "Oh!" She tried to pull her foot back. The earth resisted. It did not drag her down violently, but it did not want to release her easily either. Millie looked around. There was no path, only mist and reflections. "I think I turned the wrong way," she whispered. Then, in the largest puddle before her, something shifted, not like a reflection, as though the surface of the water were breathing. Millie held her breath. Her own reflection blinked. She had not blinked. The reflection lifted its hand. Millie's hands remained at her sides. And then, the reflection began to rise. Not downward, not sideways, upward, as though emerging from the mirror. The surface of the water stretched like a thin curtain, and from the mist, a figure appeared. At first, she was only a shimmer of light. Then she took shape. Her gown was translucent, like the surface of a lake. Her hair resembled fine strands of mist. In her eyes, everything around them was reflected: the trees, the water, Millie herself. She did not smile widely, but her gaze was warm. "Are you certain of what you saw?" she asked calmly. Millie still stood with one foot in the softened earth. "Who are you?" she whispered. The figure tilted her head. "I'm the Mirror Mist Fairy, guardian of the Mirror Mist Marsh." The mist around them moved like a breath. "And you," the fairy added gently, "are walking a path you have not yet examined." Millie looked down. Her reflection in the water did not quite match her, and suddenly she understood that not everything she saw here had to be true. Millie looked down at her foot, still caught in the soft ground. It was not a sudden trap, rather a slow, uncertain sinking, as if the earth could not decide whether it wished to hold her or let her go. "I turned the wrong way," she repeated more quietly. The Mirror Miss Fairy did not step forward at once. She did not extend her hand. Instead, she looked toward the surface of the water. "Why did you turn this way?" she asked calmly. Millie hesitated. "Because I saw a path there." The fairy inclined her head slightly. "A path, or its reflection?" The mist drifted low across the ground. Millie remembered the thin line of lighter color she had seen in the water. It had looked like a narrow trail. She had not tested it. She had simply walked toward it. "I thought it was real," she said softly. "And did you ask?" The fairy's voice remained gentle, yet clear. Millie shook her head. She tried again to free her foot. This time, she moved it slowly from side to side. The earth gradually loosened. She pulled her foot free. The breath she had been holding slipped out quietly. "Thank you," she said instinctively. "It was not I who pulled you out," the fairy replied softly. "It was your patience." Millie looked at her more carefully. The mist moved in waves around them, revealing and concealing puddles one after another. In each one, something was reflected: a tree that did not stand nearby, light that did not shine in the sky, a path that appeared dry and safe. Millie stepped toward one of the brighter patches. In the water, she saw a clear wooden bridge leading across the marsh. It looked sturdy, reliable. "There's a crossing there," she said with relief. She moved toward the reflection. "Millie," the fairy called gently, but the girl was already 2 steps closer. Where the bridge appeared in the reflection, in reality, there was only soft, wet earth. Her foot sank deeper than before, this time up to her ankle. Millie wobbled. The ground felt cool and sticky. It did not drag her down violently, but it made movement difficult. Her heart began to beat faster. "Why does it look so real?" she asked, trying to pull back. The fairy stepped closer. Her feet left no marks upon the ground. "The mist shows what you are ready to accept as truth," she said calmly, "but not always what is." Millie tried to steady her breathing. The bracelet at her wrist felt cooler than usual, not painful, but missing its warmth. "I thought that if I could see something clearly, it meant it was real," she said quietly. The fairy knelt beside the puddle. She pointed to the reflection of the bridge. "Do you know what it is made of?" Millie studied it carefully. The planks appeared solid, but as she looked longer, she noticed they cast no shadows. They did not catch the light the way they should. "They're like an image," she whispered. "Exactly." Millie slowly withdrew her foot. the ground loosened again. She stepped onto firmer earth. This time, she did not move forward. "So what should I do?" she asked. "You may ask," the fairy replied. The mist swirled gently. In one of the larger puddles, the reflection of the Cloudstep fairy appeared again, standing with her back turned. Millie felt the same small ache in her stomach. "Were you truly upset with me?" she asked uncertainly. The surface of the water trembled. The image shifted. The Cloudstep fairy in the reflection turned around and then began laughing and waving just as energetically as she truly had. Millie blinked. The mist around them thinned slightly. "You see," the fairy said softly, "not everything that seems cold is cold in truth." Millie looked into another reflection. This time she saw herself, tired, her shoulders lowered, uncertainty in her eyes, her chest tightened. "And what if this is true?" she whispered. The reflection gazed back at her with doubt. The mist thickened again. The fairy did not answer immediately. "Are you certain that is the whole truth?" she asked gently. Millie studied her reflection. She noticed the image was slightly blurred, as if the surface of the water had been disturbed. She stepped closer. "Is that really me? Or only my fears?" The water shivered more strongly. The image cracked like a thin sheet of glass, not with a crash, with a soft watery murmur. And beneath it, another reflection appeared. Millie, standing straight, two warm sparks of light glowing at her wrist, calm, breathing steadily. The mist parted wider around them. The path became clearer. The mirror mist fairy smiled gently. "When you ask, the mist has nothing to hide." Millie looked down at her bracelet. It was still waiting. It had not begun to pulse yet, but something within it was beginning to move. The mist moved more restlessly than before. It was no longer just a backdrop. It rose higher. It circled between the puddles, as if something were trying to break through it. In one of the smaller pools, the reflection of a firefly began to tremble, and then it stepped out. It did not leap violently. It simply lifted itself from the surface like a shadow peeling away from the ground. It looked like the real firefly, but it glowed with a pale, cold light. It gave no warmth. The true firefly hovered beside it, confused, staring at its own copy. In another puddle, the reflection of a tree rose and began to grow beside the real one. But its branches were thin and bare. In a third pool, the shape of the Cloudstep fairy appeared. She stepped out of the water and onto the soft earth. Her arms were crossed. "You should not have left," she said quietly. Millie's heart beat faster. "That is not the real Cloudstep," said the mirror mist fairy calmly. Yet a note of tension entered her voice. The reflection of the Cloudstep fairy took a step toward Millie. "You left me," it repeated. A sharp ache stirred in Millie's stomach. "Maybe she truly was upset," Millie whispered. The bracelet at her wrist grew cold. It did not go dark, but its light dimmed. The reflected Cloudstep began to move away. "Come," it said, and it walked toward the thicker mist. Millie took a step after it. All around her, more reflections rose from the puddles. Small, large, blurred. They whispered softly, "It's your fault. You shouldn't have gone on. You were too late." The mist thickened. The ground beneath her feet softened again. "Millie," the fairy's voice was clearer now. "Stop." Millie turned. In the largest pool of water, something else was moving. Another figure was rising. It was the mirror mist fairy, but not the one standing beside her. The one from the water had lowered shoulders. Her gaze was full of doubt. "You've lost control of your realm," the reflection said. The real fairy stiffened. For a moment, her gown rippled sharply. "That is not true," she said quietly. But her voice was no longer as certain. The reflection stepped closer to her. "You can no longer tell truth from illusion." The mist grew thicker still. The smaller reflections became clearer, stronger. Millie looked at the fairy. For the first time, she saw hesitation in her eyes. Not fear, but the shadow of doubt. "Did you?" Millie began, her heart beating faster. "Did you ask them?" The fairy looked at her. "I asked myself," she answered softly, "and for a moment I believed it." The reflection of the fairy stood directly before her. "You are no longer a good guardian," it said calmly. Millie felt that this was the moment. If they believed the reflections now, the mist would close in completely. She looked down at her bracelet. The leaf and the spiral glowed faintly. She took a steady breath. "Are you her?" she asked the reflection of the fairy, "or only her fear?" The reflection trembled. It did not answer. The real fairy looked at it intently. "Answer," she said more firmly. The mist hesitated. The reflection began to blur, like paint dissolving in water. At that very moment, another figure began rising from the largest pool. It was Millie, but smaller, with her shoulders lowered. "You can't do this," the reflection said in Millie's own voice. The smaller reflections around them quivered. The pale firefly copy glowed colder. The rootless tree leaned without support. "Are you me?" Millie said steadily. "Or only my fear?" The reflection stepped forward. "Answer," Millie repeated. Silence, dense, but no longer crushing. The reflection moved its lips. No sound emerged. It began to dissolve. First that one, then the fairy's reflection, then the smaller copies all around them. The cold firefly faded out. The rootless tree sank back into the surface. The false cloudstep scattered into droplets. The mist parted wide. The ground beneath Millie's feet grew firm. At that same moment, the story string stirred at her wrist. Two threads of light reached toward one another. They crossed, paused, and closed into the shape of a drop. Inside the drop, a bright point appeared, like an answer resting at the center of a question. A soft sound followed, like a single drop falling into still water. Warmth returned, stronger than before. The clarifying knot. 3 knots now shone side by side. The leaf, listening. The spiral, calm. The drop, the question that reveals truth. The mirror mist. Fairy looked at her own reflection, now calm and steady upon the water. Sometimes, even a guardian may believe a shadow, she said softly. Millie smiled. Then we must ask. The fairy nodded. The mist became clear. The puddles were only water again. The path stood visible. On the horizon, a warm golden light appeared, peaceful, like a ray dancing upon the surface of a river. Every question is a bridge, the fairy said, and I want to keep crossing, Millie replied. The fairy's form slowly dissolved into the mist-lit air. The marsh breathed calmly, and Millie walked toward the golden glow. This was the 3rd part of the series, Millie and the Ribbon Bridge. In the next episode, Millie will arrive at a place where light reflects upon water and gratitude can brighten even the quietest day. Will she learn another knot? We will discover that in the next chapter. Thank you for listening to Kids Bedtime Stories. If you enjoy our stories, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, good night.